Сайн байцгаана уу хүнд үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр орой манай нэвтрүүлгээр Margo Drakos оролцож байна.
Хатагтай Марго Дракос технологийн компаниудад бизнесийн хөгжил, стратеги, төлөвлөлт, маркетингийн чиглэлээр зөвлөгөө өгдөг. Тэрээр Instant Incor компаниг үүсгэн байгуулагч бөгөөд хөгжлийн бэрхшээлтэй хүүхэд залуучуудын боловсрол, ажил эрхлэлтийг дэмжих зорилгоор Априч вебсайтыг бүтээсэн. Хатагтай Дракос хийлж мэргэжлэр суралцсан бөгөөд Ази, Европ, Өмнөд Америк, Америкийн нэгдсэн улсад аялан тоглолтоо хийж өжээ. Тэрээр Колумбийн их сургуулийг хүний эрх олон улсын харилцааны мастер зэрэгтээ төгссөн. Түүний өгүүлбэрүүд Америкийн нэр хүндтэй сэтгүүлүүдэд хэвлэгдэж байжээ.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please tell us what brought you to Mongolia.
Well, first of all, it's an incredible honor for me to have the opportunity to be here. I am part of the Forum of Young Global Leaders of the World Economic Forum, and we were extended the opportunity to visit Mongolia and meet with some of your wonderful leaders and experience some of the culture prior to going to Dalian for the annual meeting of new champions for the World Economic Forum beginning this Sunday. So we're having a few days here to experience
Before going
Mongolia.
that World Economic Forum and part of Young Global Leaders, and how many Young Global Leaders are there?
Well, that's a great question. There's about 100 nominated each year who are selected each year. The Forum of Young Global Leaders is a group of extraordinary achievers who are nominated before they turn 40 years old across a variety of areas, from academia to science to business to political leaders to media experts, and thousands of people are nominated each year. And they select 100 to 200 people per year from 7 geographic regions, and who are committed to improving the state of the world, and locally, nationally, globally.
Yes.
And you receive a 5-year appointment or commitment, if you will. So it's kind of an annually rotating community. There's, I believe, about 600 active members.
When you say commitment, what are you supposed to do?
That's a great question. It's a rather humbling and large statement to say that you're supposed to figure out some way to improve the state of the world. Obviously, I think that one of the wonderful things that is been very, very personally rewarding for me about the Young Global Leader community is that it's an opportunity to meet people from so many different areas. The opportunity for me to have friends in Mongolia or in Ethiopia or anywhere around the world, and the opportunity to have an exchange of ideas. And we all have different expertise to bring to the table, and so you can identify something that you're passionate about, and you have the resources and the support and the opportunity to meet incredible leaders around the world in all sectors, and you have the opportunity to create something, build something sustainable with people that you connect with and enjoy working with, and utilize that extraordinary opportunity that we all have as young global leaders.
Margo, you work for investment firm, right? Who is investing into venture technology companies?
Yes.
Please tell us about your group.
Yes, the Switchcase Group, we are investing in and helping build very hands-on sort of niche technology platforms that help enable communities to flourish and create efficiencies with technology. So we get in very hands-on. It's a small team of engineers, very legendary business tech entrepreneurs, and I often spend most of my time working on sort of business development and marketing and strategy for 1 or 2 companies at a time in our portfolio. And sometimes I've had the good fortune of being able to co-found some of the companies that are now in our portfolio, and it's a rewarding time, I think, for in the States right now. It's a lot of and globally, obviously, it's an extraordinary time for small teams to build very, very powerful platforms.
Please share with us some cases where you were able to change the way the community works. Or
that's a wonderful. Well, one little small anecdote that was very fun. the last year and a half, I worked very closely with the YouTube Symphony Orchestra Project and the Google Creative Labs. And my company powered the mobile infrastructure for enabling a live event that took place in Sydney at the Sydney Opera House that brought together 101 musicians who competed by submitting their own performances to YouTube. And there was a voting process, and 101 musicians were chosen. They were flown down to Sydney from 33 countries, and they performed at the Sydney Opera House, which was also broadcast on the internet and on mobile devices on all platforms, and was projected on the sails of the Sydney Opera House outside what was happening inside. And my company, Instant Encore, that I had co-founded, was responsible for looking at sort of how do you leverage mobile technology to engage a community, merge that with culture, and form new communities and new innovation, and while respecting sort of some of the great traditions of the past, the great cultural traditions of the past. And the results were just unbelievable. It ended up being the largest streaming event in the history of the web and mobile technology, and there were 33 million people who watched on multiple websites. There were 2.8 million people who watched on mobile phones for an average of 25 minutes, which was just staggering to all of us.
Was it all Google support or not necessarily? Every
No.
phone?
Oh, no, yes, it was across all. My company powered it on iPhone, on iPad, on iOS devices, on Android devices, and mobile websites across so from any smartphone, any browser.
This was probably the best technology multiplied media event ever, right?
It was an extraordinary event. It was an extraordinary event.
Program there was on CNN.
Oh, fabulous. You know, one of the funny things, just as a little aside, that was kind of comical, when we would send out push notifications to people on their devices to let them know that the live event was about to start. And we had over 141,000 people had already downloaded the YouTube app that we had built and was powering. And we did a little test just to see, nobody had ever sent out that many push notifications to say a live event is to start. And in our test, it took 19 minutes to send the push. So we, needless to say, the engineers developed a system.
So you got many musicians from all over the world sending their program
to
you
YouTube.
At the end, select, and then 101 musicians come together to Sydney and playing. Wow.
Yes, and then that was streamed across all technology platforms.
And it is one of this Google Creative Labs work, right?
Yes, it was part of that.
Tell us about this Google Creative Labs.
I can't. I'm not a Google employee, so I don't. But it was an amazing group of people. It was an incredible.
I'm talking about the culture, which is now creating new culture of communication in the world.
It is. I mean, I think that's the amazing thing, you know, about technology as a whole. I mean, you see so much disruptive change, and certainly in media, a lot of the, you know, previously established models for revenue and for ways of communicating have completely exploded. And while that is creating a great deal of loss and problems, it's also creating these amazing new opportunities, the democratization of access to content, to education, to media, to humanizing cultures, to you know. So I think it's a rapidly shifting world, and there's a great deal of responsibility that comes with that, and you have to be sensitive, obviously, to sort of the loss that some are feeling from the changes that occur. But I am incredibly ecstatic and passionately excited about the new opportunities.
A few years ago, Peter Drucker, when he was alive, said, remember, about IT, and a revolution with I is done. T is done. Now revolution with I. That's the content. I think today we are technically possible.
Yes.
Now content was to share, to make us better, to communicate us better, to world more peaceful, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's, I think, this generation keep moving the world into better part, no?
Well, I couldn't agree more. I think we all have a responsibility to do so, and something that I spend a great deal of time, and my friends, my fellow colleagues in the young global leader community, I think we all feel very passionate and immense responsibility towards. Just to touch on that very end, comment, a couple of young global leaders and myself this year, kind of an interesting thing, because I had, just to back up for a moment, because I've been spending so much time on innovative technology in the mobile space for smartphones and tablets. I was curious what was happening for an enormous amount of the population that is still using sort of SMS-based phones. Yes. And I teamed up with a YGL, Dr. Umar Saif, at the Lahore University of Management Sciences, and I asked if some of his students would want to build some math games for SMS-based phones. And they built these beautiful games, some group of Pakistani students, and I found that it was actually very challenging. You don't have the Android store or the Apple store to necessarily submit an app and have it go everywhere. Yes. So what we've ended up doing, and we're launching this coming week in Dalian and then at the Clinton Global Initiative the week following, is we've launched an initiative called the App Bridge, which is going to be an online platform that will really enable the creation, the submission, and the distribution of mobile apps to empower, and to facilitate education and opportunity to disadvantaged youth everywhere through mobile phones.
They're in a remote area, rural areas.
Exactly. I mean, there's about 3.8 billion people in the emerging markets who have cell phones, and most people in rural communities, each family has at least one cell phone.
So you have founded this App Bridge.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Good job.
Well, we have a lot of work to do. We're just getting started.
You're distributing content, educational, economic, job opportunities, etc., to young people. Otherwise, they could not accept on all their mobile different platform, right?
Yes, exactly. We're working on developing a universal language code to enable developers to submit an app, and then we're partnering with various telecom companies to have that app then be submitted across all types of platforms.
Will it be any cheaper for them to have otherwise?
It's pivotal, it's absolutely crucial, and we're working very closely with two telecom companies in particular at the moment to finalize that.
What would be a principal difference of format of this information packet?
How will it be? Well, ideally we will have, so for example, we're going to, I'll just give two case studies examples. We're launching a program in India that is with the Mealy Carnegie Mellon University Labs, and it's an entire 5th grade of English language training for people who want to learn English as a second language through their cell phones. And so it's 12 games that will be either preloaded on their phones when they get a new phone, or will be free for them to download and onto their phone, and they'll have an opportunity to work with, and their teachers will be able to.
So will it be interactive in a way?
Yes. Oh, it's absolutely interactive.
So that makes the difference, along with other programs.
Absolutely. It's auditory and visual learning, and in 2 languages at the moment. It'll be expanding. So that's one example. And yes, it goes through lessons, and then you play games, and if you make mistakes, then it tells you what to work on, and then it goes back and retests it. It's very comprehensive. It's amazing lab. And then the second program that we're very, very excited about is working with this amazing organization called Mobile Movement, which will be founding and building the mobile platforms and apps, a series of apps that is for what they're calling a Khadija initiative, which is incredible. It's to start and grow 10,000 women, small businesses run by women in Yemen, and it will be expanding throughout the Middle East and North Africa. And they're using mobile technology, which AppBridge will be creating and distributing in tandem with QTEL, as a tool for helping the women understand learn certain business skills or how to access new markets or communicate.
And that will be in their language, or
yes, all in their language. It's all very.
Okay.
So this is something that will be very. There's a variety. We're creating an ecosystem, if you will, so of content coming in from people on the ground.
Wow.
App developers who will then work with that content and develop that, and then telco corporations that will be distributing it at affordable, or it has to be free.
In such a format that is easy to download and to read
exactly.
and to interact.
Yes,
Fantastic.
exactly. So
and
it's
it
exciting.
will it be competing with Android type of this? No.
No, well, we hope that what I think is important is to build tools that will scale as smartphone penetration and tablet penetration starts to reach many broader audiences. So, no, I mean, we very much want to have everything compatible for Android devices and everything, and just, but right now you still also have a number of people who are using SMS-based phones.
Margo, you have been a musician.
Yes.
How you became a IT lady? What brought you? It is such a change. Please tell me.
It's quite a change. I don't have a very. It's a long and winding story, which I won't bore you with. But I was very fortunate to go to music conservatory very, very young at the Curtis Institute of Music, and I was equally fortunate to have made a living as a cellist, touring around the world and orchestra and chamber music, and had a wonderful faculty position. And
where faculty position?
I was at the Manhattan School of Music and the Aspen Music Festival, artist in residence, and things, which was a real pleasure.
And you have been traveling all around the world playing cello.
Yes, I traveled very, very extensively, and was fortunate to be able to support myself at a very young age, which was important to me. And but what I found was that as you have the opportunity to travel the world, and I was concerned about, I felt that classical music, which was what I did, I sometimes felt very disconnected from my audience, I like to dream big and problem solve and things. And I found that actually as a musician, you're very well prepared actually for problem solving and for thinking about how do you communicate with an audience, or what are the needs of that audience, and how can you support other voices to allow them to rise and flourish. As a cellist, that's a lot of what you do. You're supporting.
You said a very interesting thing. As a musician, you feel very close and feel comfortable with converting this message to people. When does this break happen to you? Tell me. How it come?
You mean with music, or
with the way you were expressing
technology.
yourself with music, cello, professionally, and then suddenly you decided, and then you said that you want to communicate. You feel like you will feel better communicating in different ways.
In different ways.
What brought you to this conclusion, and when and how?
Well, a couple of very pivotal things happened when I had the opportunity to be a member of the American String Quartet as a cellist. Their wonderful group. I missed the fact that I had never studied anything outside of music and conservatory. I went to conservatory very young, and so I decided to apply to Columbia University and to study human rights and international affairs.
And you did.
I did, and it was not convenient. I had not studied or written a paper since I was about 15 years old prior, so it was kind of a steep learning. Yes, all music. So, and I found that was just an incredible eye-opening experience to study, international relations and conflict resolution. And I had the amazing fortune of meeting a very legendary tech entrepreneur, Bill Stensrud, through actually cello. And he is a very large supporter of the arts, and he gave me an extraordinary opportunity to build a company with him and two wonderful young engineers. And I was sort of at a crossroads where I felt like I wanted to take some of my experiences as a cellist and as a musician and expand them into other areas. And I felt like it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And so I decided to go for it.
And what you have been doing exactly with him, the firm?
I'm sorry?
The firm, or what you exactly busy?
Well, so that this is now evolved. So that was that was one company, and that was Instant Encore actually that we co-founded, and then so now it's been almost 4 years since I transitioned from making my living as a cellist to joining to building my first or co-founding a tech company with these wonderful people.
You have incredibly two strongest tools of communication: music and IT, and the same person in the same business. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not sure about all that, but it is. I think it's interesting that I think music or studying any kind of performing arts or discipline or sport and things, prepares you beautifully for a host of things in life. And so it feels to me very like a natural evolution that has occurred.
You said that some interesting thing. Music, sport, the business all together requires very strong discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
And tell us about the discipline, being responsible for yourself first of all, etc.
Oh, that's very important.
What you would tell the younger people who thinks about that, feeling not very self-confident, what you would tell?
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, I think I struggle with those questions myself, and as one continues to go through life, you're always questioning those things. But I think that we all have I feel very fortunate that I've had such incredible mentors and teachers and dear people close to me throughout my life who supported me at times when I did not necessarily believe in myself. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I've been incredibly fortunate to have experiences, to be sitting here and speaking with you, and to be traveling around the world, meeting wonderful people, and having an opportunity to build things that can hopefully benefit others in some small way. And I think that it's a very comforting thought to know that there are people all over the world trying to do the best they can and make some small mark or a large mark. None of us know at the time.
Where does the discipline start then?
Well, I think the discipline comes from first of all, that's a good question. I think it's commitment is an enormous part of it. I think that I feel responsible to do my best as much as I possibly can.
Who made you responsible? Your family, your parents?
I didn't have the most, I had a colorful upbringing. So I think that I found very early on that I needed to rely on myself, and that you can do anything if you believe and you work hard enough at it. And I've never been the most talented person or smartest person in any area at all. No. I think it's important to recognize if you work hard, if you stay focused, if you just as life goes on, more people sometimes get tired or things happen in life and you can't control and that all those things, but if you can stay focused and stay committed, I do believe that you can achieve whatever your dreams are. And
where you were born?
I was born in Columbus, Ohio. Yes.
And went to the east or west coast?
No, I went to school in Philadelphia and Cleveland. And I was very fortunate to have amazing education as a.
Your parents were supporting your musical education in particular, or?
It was a complicated upbringing.
Okay.
Complicated. I left home. I left home by 15, and.
You were on your own on 15. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so I think something to that's important that I think about a lot now is sort of the difference between goals and dreams, and sometimes you can be very driven about your goals, but finding a way to merge those so that the things that are very personally rewarding to you.
Yes. What a major difference between goal and dream?
What is the difference?
Yes, major difference between goal and dream.
Well, I think for me personally, as a cellist, I can use this analogy. As a cellist, I wanted to try to win jobs or win competitions or win something. And what I found was that once I was in some of the jobs, I didn't find them actually as personally rewarding as I had hoped. And so I think that, and now I actually, I love very, very much what I do now for my job. And it's much more of a dream.
So have you got your dream done?
No. I don't know. I hope we're always dreaming.
What is the must dream you would like to do?
I think to create something Well, first of all, I think to treat people, all the people that you meet on your daily life, with respect and dignity, and to, if you're in a position where you're fortunate enough to manage or work in tandem with others, that you cultivate an environment where you're respecting and allowing your others to flourish and bring out their best. But I think then a part in the broader sense is to hopefully build on the technology standpoint and the education standpoint to build things that allow others to realize their full potential, because I feel that I've been very fortunate that others helped me along the way to realize or have opportunities, and so I hope that I in some small way am able to create and give that same opportunity to others as people did for me.
Finally, I want to ask a question as a musician, as a person who lived through this music. What is the must music it makes you strong, or it makes you, a hard time keep moving?
What music, actual music, do I find most moving and things? Well, I have an eclectic taste, I will tell you.
Okay.
First of all, I love classical music, which I will touch on in a moment. But when I'm working and I like to run, and I am a hip hop rap music junkie. So,
Hip hop rap music junkie.
I love Tupac and Eminem and a host of others. But in the classical music area, I mean, I certainly Bach and there's so many things. I think that there's amazing. I think one of the fascinating things about classical music as a whole and jazz is that there's different emotions for different times, and so that's it's depending on your mood. I think it's important for us to sometimes take a moment to just not have all the content in front of our faces, and just to sit and listen and reflect. And actually, I was just thinking about this on the plane flying here from Los Angeles. We have the anniversary of September 11th coming up, and I was thinking about what music is something personal to me to listen to, or that might remind me of 10 years ago and things. Well, I mean, there's a host of things. Actually, I think the Shostakovich violin concertos is very poignant and telling at this time. I think that Schubert, Winterreise, and certainly Bach. I think Bach, Chaconne, Bach violin, and that's it's very hard. And Barber's Adagio for strings, as common as that is become.
At the end, you're right. It depends on time, mood, and whatever. Situation is, you exercise.
I do. I like to run.
You're very fit. And what does it take? I mean, how many times a week?
Do I run? Oh, well, I shouldn't say this publicly, but I'm supposed to, my husband and I are going to run the Long Beach Marathon in October. So right now we're just training for the marathon.
Where is it, Long Beach?
It's just south of Los Angeles. No, it's actually...
Not New York, Long Beach.
No.
This is California, LA, Long Beach.
LA, Long Beach. I think it's...
Marathon?
Yes.
43 kilometers.
I don't, 26.2 miles. Yes, 43 kilometers.
How many hours?
Well, I hope it's under 4.5 hours.
4.5 hours.
I hope it's under.
Wow, and do you run often?
I try, for me, running is important for my mind. I don't do it. I'm not a great athlete in any way, shape, or form.
But the marathon makes you great athlete.
No, but it's the mind. It's for your mind. It's a chance to reflect and be proud of what your body can do and your mind can do.
For running a marathon, you should run every day before exercise?
Well, so we follow a program
couple miles every day?
Well, a couple, yes. It's a wonderful, there's fabulous programs that you can, it's amazing. I never had run more than a couple miles until the first marathon I ever ran, and if you follow the programs and
keeps you running?
It's just incredible. You slowly increase.
What is this?
It's about, one of there's a bunch of the programs on there, but one that I like is the Hal Higdon, and you can download them, look at the schedule, and you follow it.
when I saw first time you, and I said immediately, she's a runner.
No,
I would think,
that's kind of you. No. My husband runs over an hour faster than me, so I
Okay.
don't feel that humbles me.
Margo, thank you very much
Oh,
for
thank
coming
you
to
so
my
much.
program,
It
and
was such a pleasure.
and I think what we have talked today will be watched by our Mongolian audience, a lot of young people, I hope, and then they do, and it will be a very, I think, a life-enriching experiment, what you said.
Thank you so
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck.
Thank you so
doing
much.
Mongolian
Thank
things.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.